All right, guys. So today we are going to review some Punnett squares, just because we have our final coming up. And so we're going to start off with just talking a little bit about monohybrid crosses, which we have before. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you so you can see what I'm looking at. All right. Cool. All right. Are we able to see everything okay? Give me a thumbs up there. Right. This awesome. A nod. I see it. All right, cool. So if you remember, monohybrid crosses, they're just the regular crosses that we go with one trait. And we sometimes look at flower color or just a simple characteristic. And so sometimes they are monohybrid crosses, and sometimes we have other types of Punnett squares that are going to follow different rules. Do you guys remember, and I'm gonna stop sharing my screen here so we can chat a little bit. Do you guys remember any of the other types of crosses that we talked about? If you do, go ahead and type any of the names that you remember into the little chat box that you see over on the side. Any of the names of them or the other types of characteristics we talked about. If you have any trouble or anything, just either raise your hand or give me a red X or anything. I can kind of help to troubleshoot a little bit. All right, so Sid said dominant and codominant. All right. Caroline, are there any that you remember? You remember those too? All right, that's good. So I'm going to give you guys a practice problem. And we are going to, let me share my screen again with you so we can talk about the two that I want to point out. Sid pointed out one of the ones that we're going to talk about. All right, so not all crosses are completely dominant, just like the monohybrids. So we have incomplete dominance and the codominant ones, just that Sid said over on the chat box. So just to kind of refresh your memory, the incomplete dominants are the ones where you have one color, so like the red flower, you have a white flower, and then they kind of mix together in the heterozygous. So you're going to make pink. And that comes from, the incomplete comes from that one allele is not going to be completely dominant over the other. And then codominant is when you have a red flower and a white flower, and if they are mated together, your heterozygote, you're going to see both. You're going to see some sort of pattern. Could be spotted, could be striped, could be just a random pattern, but you're going to see both. All right, so real quick, let me just review some of the steps here to solve the Punnett squares. I kind of simplified it down for you guys. So we define the alleles, which means we make a key. We determine what our parents' genotypes are. We put the parents into the Punnett square so that we can determine the offspring. And then we answer any of the follow-up questions, maybe a genotypic or a phenotypic ratio. All right, so let's look at the problem that we're going to do here. So I'm going to grab a practice problem and I'm going to put it up on my whiteboard so that you can see what it is. All right, so let's see. Let's find my whiteboard. Let's throw some text in here. All right, so we are going to be talking about two types of flowers. Okay, they're called snapdragons. And so we're going to make a key, and then we are going to figure out what the genotypic ratio is and what the phenotypic ratio is. Alrighty. So I am going to unmute you guys, and because I want to have a little discussion here, and we're going to kind of work through this together. All right. Can you both still hear me? You can answer with a yes.
Yeah.
Okay, cool. I can hear both of you too. All right, so let me read the problem to you. So we're crossing red flowering snapdragons with white flowering snapdragons, and that's going to yield snapdragons with pink flowers. And so we're going to show a cross with a pink snapdragon plant and a red snapdragon. So first of all, which type of cross is this? Is this our codominant or our incomplete?
Incomplete.
Say that again, I didn't hear you.
Incomplete dominant.
Incomplete dominant? Okay, so you both agree.
Dominant.
Yep, you got it. All right, so first we have to make a key. And do either of you remember what we do to make a key?
Well, you find the dominant and the dominant and the recessive. Do I know what and the dominant and recessive alleles, and then you put them together like whatever letter you want to use, like big A, little a.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, so we have to determine the letter first, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so what letter would you like to use, Caroline?
Yes. We'll just use A.
We'll use A? Sounds good. Okay, so we have to do our A's. And do you remember what that's called when we have two of the same letter and they are both capitalized?
Heterozygous dominant.
Not heterozygous.
Zygous dominant.
Yeah.
Homozygous dominant, good. Okay, so we have to do our homozygous dominant. We have to do, and then what's the big and the little?
Heterozygous.
Yeah.
Yep, heterozygous. And then how about the two littles?
Homozygous recessive.
Homozygous recessive, good. Okay, so now we have to define them. So we have three colors that we're dealing with, and it tells us if we take the red and the white and we mix them together and we mate them, then we're gonna make our pink. So we are going to define our homozygous dominant as our red. We're going to define our homozygous recessive as white, and then our heterozygous is pink. Okay. All right, so what I'm gonna have you guys do, all right, let me unmute you here. Let's see, Sid, if you wanna do the actual Punnett square on your whiteboard, I'm gonna have you draw the Punnett square and then put the letters in. You just have to share it with us.
It says I can't share
While I'm sharing?
Participant is sharing.
Okay, so let me stop sharing so that you can do that.
Okay. Wait, so am I doing one dominant and one recessive?
So it wants you to, the question that it's asking is, we are showing a cross between a pink snapdragon plant and a red snapdragon plant.
Okay. Pink and red.
All right, that looks good.
Okay.
All right, so Sid, just keep your screen up there so we can keep looking at that Punnett square then. And so Caroline, I'm going to ask you in the chat box, I want you to tell me what the genotypic ratio is of the offspring. So let me type I'm gonna type my question to you. So what is the genotypic ratio of the offspring? Okay, so there's my question for you. if you don't remember or you have a question or anything, you go ahead and type it in your, here, let me unmute you and we can talk it out if you need.
Oh, so my.
Yep, I can hear you now, yep.
Okay, so for the genotypic, that's the possible combinations you can have. Am I right? Like
Combinations
big
of what?
A, big A, or big A, little. The, like. Like, it's not because the phenotype, it would be the physical characteristic, which would be the color.
Correct, yep. So you're looking at the letters, just like you said, yep.
Did I go in?
Did you type a 1-to-1?
Yeah, because it's 50 big A, little a, and 50 big A, big A.
Exactly right, yep. So then, Sid, I'm gonna go ahead and unmute you here. All right, we're still looking at your screen, so still keep that up there. All right, so the genotypic ratio equals or is 1-to-1. Okay, I'm just gonna reiterate that in the chat so everybody can see that. Oh. Sid, can you see that in the chat?
No.
How about now?
Yeah, I can see now.
All right, so do you agree with
Yeah, I can
Caroline
see
that
it.
it is 1-to-1?
Yes.
Okay, so then Caroline, what did you say again about the phenotype?
That it's the physical characteristic, which would be the color of the plant or flower.
At the physical characteristic. Okay, so do we remember back to our key what the homozygous dominant looks like, what color it is?
Red.
Yep, and how about the
Red.
heterozygous?
Pink.
Yeah, the heterotype. Okay.
What color was that one?
Pink.
Yep. All right, so what is our phenotypic ratio then?
Wouldn't it be like 50% red and then 50% pink?
Exactly right. Yep. So in this case, it is similar to what the genotypic ratio is. And then when we type it out or write it out, we're going to say that it's 50% and then give the color so that we know that we're talking about the phenotype. Okay. All right. Any questions about incomplete dominance that you guys have?
Nope.
All right. We got a thumbs up. We're good?
No.
All right. Cool. We're ready for finals?
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll keep reviewing in class and we'll make sure you guys are ready. All right. Thanks, guys.